Alright, hello and welcome to another RuneScape 3 video. In my latest RuneScape 3 video, I got a comment regarding my AFK method for Arch Glacor, and I did do a necromancy AFK video on it sort of before. It was more of a what I do to get the fastest kill times, but I realized it was a bit lacking and I wanted to go over a few more things if you want to AFK the other styles, so melee, ranged and magic. At the moment, I do prefer to use necromancy the most because I get the fastest kills with necromancy. So on the left hand side you will see my setup for necromancy. I am using Raziel's gear. I wanted to also mention you do not need to use Raziel's gear. You can use the Death Warden or Death Dealer gear. I've tried it at level 70 and 80 when I was getting my necromancy skill up to 99 and 120 and 200 mil XP, and I was able to get kill times with that gear, and the survivability was still pretty good, especially with the Death Warden gear because you have the Vengeful Spirit which will passively heal you, and the Death Warden gear soaks up some damage as well. And especially if you throw in Darkness down the bottom here, you will actually 20% chance to dodge attacks for 12 minutes. But I want to go over melee, ranged and magic. So over on the right hand side you will see the melee setup I predominantly used. I did use custom fit trimmed masterwork. Now you don't need to use that. You can use Bandos. I wouldn't go lower than Bandos, but Bandos or higher will definitely do it. And the weapon of choice, surprisingly, is the augmented Saradomin Godsword passive. So I believe you take a normal Saradomin Godsword to the God Wars Dungeon 1 and you use it on the altar at the Saradomin front, and it will turn it into a passive Godsword, which will attacks have a 25% chance to heal and 3% of your life points, and restore 3% of your prayer points. So you can maintain prayer and life points with that weapon, and that is how I actually got 200 mil in my strength, attack and defense stats with that Godsword. As you can see, it's level 20 with 1 million experience in it. I always use perks on my armor and on my weapons. There is, if you're an Iron Man, that will require upkeep. I haven't tried it without perks with that particular setup, but it should work. And you've also got the Brawler's Blood Necklace as well. So you're just combining a Fury Blood Necklace with a Brawler's Necklace you get from the Dungeoneering reward shop, and that will also give you some healing as well. The next one over, you're looking at ranged. Ranged was a bit harder. I did also use a Noxious Bow as well, but when I got the Seren God Bow, I used that because it was my favorite bow at the time. I loved its special attack. Plus it's a tier 92 weapon and a really good weapon at that. Just your standard Pernix chaps, Pernix armor with your Farsight Blood Necklace. I found it a bit harder to upkeep the healing on my range setup, so I often ran a Vampirism aura at the same time. I will show you how to get almost unlimited Vampirism auras. Where is my... sorry, I'm just mucking that up completely. Here's my aura over here. So if I go to my Vampirism here, I would use this aura the most, and I'll show you the shop. You can actually buy the refreshers from War's Marks of War shop, where you get Marks of War from boss kills and things like that, and I've gotten over 1,000 refreshers for that. I'll show you where you can get that in just a moment. But yeah, I would use the Vampirism aura with my range setup. I was using the Virtus magic setup before cryptbloom came out, and I had to use a Vampirism aura for that one as well. But if you use the cryptbloom setup with the Animate Dead spell and your magic weapon of choice, I found that the necklace was more than enough to maintain your health pool while for AFKing at the Arch Glacor for an hour. So those were the three setups I used for melee, ranged and magic. And then obviously you just use your Death Warden or Death Dealer gear if you haven't got Raziel's unlocked. For your necklace, for your ring slot, just your best ring. So I should have actually grabbed the rings out of my bank. There are, I can't remember their names, but they're basically the rings that correspond with melee, range, and magic. And then I use the occultist ring for necromancy. I use the Omni Guard and a Soulbound Lantern for necromancy. You don't need to do those either. You can just use the one that you upgrade through your necromancy path. Your best in slot cape, obviously I'm using the Zuck cape, but if you've got the kiln capes, you can use those, or just your best in slot cape for your style that you're using. Your book, you want to use a Scripture of Fool. If you have the damage, so you're not dying very quickly, if you can, I think you can maintain an extra 10% of damage done to you by Arch-Glacor, then the 20% bonus you get from the book is well worth it, and you will notice really good kill times. If you're not using a Vampirism aura, the other auras I do like to use are you can use Aegis for half an hour if you want to last a bit longer, if you're struggling to keep your HP higher. I used to use Sharpshooter, Runic Accuracy, whatever corresponded with the style I was using at the time. Inspiration and Equilibrium are really good as well. They just give you some passive damage along the way. If you can, always make sure you're trying to use an aura. While I'm on the topic of auras, we will go to War's shop, and I will go over to here. So you click on War and you can use your marks of grace. Keep in mind, if you haven't unlocked, I believe it is the achievements, the combat mastery achievements, you are capped at 250,000 marks of war. Now I usually get 1,000 every hour from Arch-Glacor that I AFK there, so I max out that, and I go across to my consumables and I buy the Aura Refresh Tier 2. So for 2 hours of AFKing Arch-Glacor, you will get 2,000 marks of war, and you'll be able to buy an Aura Refresh. So what I would recommend is using your augmented melee. Train your melee up first, get a heap of marks of war. As I said, I'm buying these all the time, so if I might buy another 50 while I'm here. That'll be 200, so there we go, and you now have 2,355 auras. So that's what you sort of get from all the kills I've been doing at Arch-Glacor. The bulk of these boss kills are just Arch-Glacor, so almost 350,000. I will also mention, while I'm on the topic, I did cross the 300,000 threshold for Arch-Glacor kills at normal mode. While I'm here too, I will show you how to reset. If you do get 60,000 kills in a boss, what you want to do is you come down to boss kills, and when any of these hit the 60,000 mark, they will not go up anymore. I think it's 60,001 for some reason, and then you just hit the prestige button, and yes, so any boss kills at 60,000 will be prestiged. So at the moment I'm at 571 KC at Arch-Glacor with 5 prestiged, which is 5 times 60,000, which is the 300,000. But yeah, those are the AFK methods I would use per style, and you can definitely go all the way up to 200 mil with this. I'll just go back here to Arch-Glacor. The action bar I would use, so I'll go over that for you as well while I'm moving there. So because I'm using a two-handed weapon for melee, I haven't done it in forever. I hope that's the action bar I had set. I said I haven't meleeed Arch-Glacor for I think a year and a half, 2 years now since I got 200 mil. But yeah, so Meteor Strike, you don't need really AoE abilities for this. You just want your really high damaging abilities. I do put Sacrifice on all my action bars, just especially if I don't have like Vengeful Spirit for Necromancy, which is a passive heal, which is why I think that skill is so overpowered at the moment, and the only skill in my opinion worth using for combat at the moment. There are some uses you can use melee, ranged and magic for, but at the moment just Necromancy is so overpowered for it. But yeah, Sacrifice is really handy just to throw on your action bar, and you'll get some passive healing from that as well. I'll show you my range. So usually I do dual wield. Not dual wield, two-handed, sorry, mixed that up. I did try dual wield ranged. If you want to do with onyx bolts. I found it was a bit expensive at the time. You go through a fair few bolts doing it that way. But it is, again, another way you can do it if you don't want to use a Vampirism Aura. I just liked the Vampirism Aura because I had so many aura refreshes at the time. It was just really easy just to use that the most. So yeah, as you can see, sacrifices on this, just your death swiftness at the start, and then your massive damage output after that. And then the magic, I usually went the two-handed magic as well. This might have changed. I thought sacrifice was on that ability, but maybe not. But yeah, just your best magic abilities for this as well. If I put a staff on, that's better. They light up then. But yeah, those are the abilities that I would put on. I'll go back and put my Godbow on as well and go back so you can see that properly. So those are the abilities I used for ranged. So that's definitely what I would do there, and then your melee stats as well, so you can see that better. Yep, just your best damaging abilities. If you do need to use prayer, just your melee prayer, because you're only doing 0 mechanics, is, I believe, the only prayer I needed to use at the time. I don't use prayers anymore because of necromancy, but yeah, use a prayer if you need to. Especially under this melee setup, you should be able to maintain the prayer points with the sword, I believe, if you use a protection prayer. So that will help you with melee the most as well. So yeah, that's basically what I would do if you want to AFK each of the skills and get them up. You can throw defensives as well. Defensives can mitigate a lot of the damage, but keep in mind that the less damage you're dealing, the longer your kill times will be. I will talk about that as well, the kill times. So under melee, ranged and magic, my kill times averaged from 28 seconds up to, I think, 36 seconds if memory serves. That's the main reason I use necromancy, because under necromancy it's as low as 13 seconds up to about 20 seconds, especially with the higher tier gear. But yeah, you don't need to use the maximum gear for it. I believe, I haven't actually tried, you could actually use darkness as well alongside melee, ranged and magic now, if you don't want to use the cryptbloom and animate dead. So darkness would also be a really good option. And yeah, your XP rates, now I'm just going off memory for a lot of it. I believe back in the day it was around the 300 to half a mil XP, so 300,000 XP to 500,000 XP an hour for each style. You gain it really quickly, so, but that could also be wrong. I haven't tested it, and I probably should have tested it for this video, but as I said, it's a bit hard when you're up to 200 mil. It doesn't actually, it records on the side here, but it's not as accurate as actually seeing it go up. But yeah, this is what I would do if I was starting a new account, whether it's an Iron Man or a main account. Just doing Arch-Glacor is really great passive money. You will make a lot of money from this. Good news is, I found out in a previous video I did from some really good commenters that left comments on my videos. They said that the nerfs aren't coming at the moment. So I'd say Jagex is in the midst of reviewing all that, listening to player feedback and whatnot. So at the moment, I hope it's the case in the future, but at the moment, you're still good to profit a heap of drops from this. It is around about, I believe, 5 to 10 mil an hour if you open the troves, which I don't. I'm leaving the troves in my bank to do a massive opening eventually, so there will be a video that comes out. I'm going to do it hopefully when I get to 20,000 troves, so you will see what loot from 20,000 troves looks like. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, if you did like the video, please drop a like, comment below, let me know any feedback. I'm happy to hear people out, and if you've got any video ideas, that's really good. So far, I've done 2 videos this week, or in this week and last week, from comment ideas, so I'm happy to take those on board and do videos on things about that. But yeah, this is definitely the way I would train combat at the moment from the big blue boy up there. Definitely my favorite boss in the game. If you want to learn bossing, it is a really, really good boss to learn. I'll let you know that I actually wasn't a bosser, I didn't fight bosses at all before Arch-Glacor. So Arch-Glacor was really my first RuneScape boss. I was always a skiller or a slaying monsters for Slayer XP and things like that. Loved doing that. Never really got into bossing. When I first tackled the Arch-Glacor, I had to use protection prayers, I had to use defensive abilities, and avoid, you know, the mechanics of the boss fight. And it really got me into bossing. It's the only reason I was able to get my full Raziel set from Raziel, and fight a heap of other bosses as well. So definitely a great boss to learn if you're wanting to get into PVM, a great boss to AFK if you want passive money and passive XP, and definitely worth doing. Maybe not as long term as I have done it, not everyone needs to do that many kills, but yeah, from the kill count alone that I've done with Arch-Glacor, you can probably tell I'm a bit addicted to this boss. I'll try not to do so many videos on that. If you check out my channel, you'll see a lot of videos on Arch-Glacor. But yeah, I'll cover some more content in the future that's a bit different than this. But anyway, thank you for watching. As I said, please leave a comment below. Please like the video if you did enjoy, and consider subscribing to the channel. I've almost hit 500 subscribers, and I'm keen to get more and sort of build a community and help my fellow RuneScape players out. And I'll see you in the next video. Cheers!